Alright, guys. We gotta do like relief cuts in here, but don't do that. We'll get the world killer will figure out the rest of the road. The project till next week is to get these roads done, and then here I want to go look at the gonna be a road right here, I think. I want to go look at the airport here real quick. Oh yeah. This looks good. Looks real good. Alright, I'm gonna go over here. Actually, we'll just find a safe spot. The runway should be fine.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hey Eric, what's going on? 22-month resub. Alright. Okay guys, space news time. Good work today. Alright, so we'll yeah, that's the Survival City project. We usually play this on Saturdays, guys, if people are into it. Yeah. So, yeah. It's a fun little project. Just chip away at it. Get it? A little bit every week, and yeah, then you end up with something really cool. Okay, I am going to take a break, and we will start up, you know what? There really isn't much space news, guys. Let's play Kerbal. I'm going to take a break, and we'll play KSP when we get back. Building a payload. Building a payload loading machine for spaceships. There we go. Space News and KSP together. Something like that. These are the scariest pumpkins. What's that, Electron? Nice. Nice. Alright, I'll be back in a second. Don't go anywhere.
Okay, the port restraint is out. Here comes the spin. Here it goes.
Yeah, we see it down here, Bill. It's beautiful.
Okay, Mike, we're at 52, coming back down 51 RPM.
Roger, we copy. You guys look good. And Columbia, Houston, everyone down here is go for deploy with 2 minutes left over Hawaii.
And so is everyone up here.
Roger, we copy.
if the TV comes out. It doesn't play back very well on a monitor, but we're relatively sure we got it. And we, by the way, still have that beautiful satellite in sight. It's traveling just below it.
Roger, we copy Bill and Joe, and got a lot of happy people down here. You guys did good work.
Okay, Mike, we delivered. We got SBS off on time. And if you're interested, I'll read you the pad.
Roger, go ahead.
Deliver the crew of Shuttle Mission 5 did. Only 8 hours into the first operational flight of the Space Shuttle program. 5th flight of the orbiter Columbia. The first 4 missions were test flights to prove the space transportation system could provide access to low Earth orbit on a routine basis. Those missions laid the groundwork for the operational era. Shuttle Flight 5 was the beginning of that era. The primary purpose of the mission, to carry 2 communication satellites into orbit, deploy them from the payload bay, then return to Earth.
Columbia, Houston, 30 seconds till LOS, and everything is still go down here for deploy.
Roger, Brian, we copy that. Thank you very much. We're looking forward to having a good one.
Roger, and good luck.
Okay, Houston, this is Columbia. We are 2 for 2. We deliver. Hey, Roy, are we down now? That was, are we on the ground?
Absolutely.
A flawless landing. Only minutes after sunrise at Edwards Air Force Base, California, ended Columbia's 5th mission. Looking slightly weathered, the orbiter had traveled over 10.5 million miles in 5 flights, spent 24 days on orbit, and circled the Earth almost 400 times. It would now return to Kennedy Space Center, Florida for refurbishment, to be launched again on Shuttle Flight 9. The newest orbiter in NASA's fleet, Challenger, would fly on Shuttle Flight 6. Many weight-saving improvements had been made. The orbiter itself was almost 2,500 pounds lighter because of structural changes. The external tank weighed 10,000 pounds less than the one used on Shuttle Flight 1. The solid rocket boosters were almost 4,000 pounds lighter. The 3 main engines were upgraded to 104% of rated thrust. A blanket-like thermal material replaced 600 thermal tiles in non-critical areas, and all 30,000 tiles were densified to improve their durability. This stack could carry over 17,000 pounds more into orbit than Columbia.
Minus 15,
Hear that, guys?
14, 13, 12.
Wait a minute, I'm gonna pause it for a second. Did you hear what he just said? Challenger could move 17,000 pounds more payload. Okay, I know people are gonna be like, what I don't, pounds, I don't know what that means. That's, let's see, about 8,000 kilograms more? 8 tons more? That's a lot. Just thought I'm just putting it out there. Yeah. What's up, Casper? Yeah. Challenger was a beast, man. It was a beast. The lightest one, dude. It's a freaking monster of an orbiter. You calling Columbia fat? No, it's just big boned.
11, 10, we'll go for main engine ignition. 7, 6, we have main engine ignition. liftoff of the Orbiter Challenger and the 6th flight of the Space Shuttle. The shuttle has cleared the tower.
Challenger's underway. We got a roll program. Houston copies, Challenger.
You'd be a beast, Tars. The shuttle with modern improvements would be really, really good. Like, really good. Can you imagine a shuttle nowadays?
And some late news for your story. We got a go for deploy. We have a go for deploy.
A shuttle nowadays with
On
BLE
Shuttle Flight
boosters?
6, Challenger's cargo, the tracking and data relay satellite.
So, like, can you imagine a shuttle nowadays? Like, a shuttle nowadays with the BLE boosters, so like Omega boosters, carbon composites, right? I mean, they did make the boosters out of steel. They were made out of steel because they were designed to be refurbished, right? So you fish them out. I'm not sure you can exactly do that with the carbon composite ones, but the carbon composite ones, while not being reusable, are super easy to make. They're easier to manufacture. It's just a cylinder, right? And they're way freaking lighter. They are way lighter. Dude, the shuttle could move up into the 30-ton payload capacity easily. Like you're easily gaining at least 5 tons of dry mass back with the carbon composite SRBs. And there was also studies looking into using 5-segs on the shuttle, using 5-segment boosters, which is unreal. Like, oh, dude, it would really do good. And if you use tough rock tiles instead, the tough rock tiles adhere way better. Like on the X-37, the X-37's tiles are glued. But it's using tough rock. They have much better adhesion. Ugh. Man, it would work, dude. It would be a really good vehicle. I mean, still no abort system, obviously, but yeah.
Rocket, the IUS, weighed almost 19 tons. TDRS was the largest, most advanced communication satellite launched to date.
That is correct.
A major accomplishment in space communications.
Needs hydrolocks, but I suppose if you used methane...
TDRS is launched from the payload bay by ejection springs, released when explosive bolts are fired. After shuttle moves a safe distance away, the first stage of the IUS rocket fires to boost the satellite from 150 miles to 22,300 miles in altitude. Then the first stage separates. Shortly thereafter, the second stage of the IUS rocket fires to circularize the satellite's orbit. Solar panels and antennas are deployed to provide power and tracking and data relay capability. Having attained a circularized altitude of 22,300 miles and traveling at the same speed as the Earth's rotation, the satellite will remain fixed in orbit over the same location continuously. Later, the first TDRS will be joined by 2 more identical satellites. The 3 will form a space communications network, providing almost continuous coverage to Earth-orbiting spacecraft, not the 15% ground stations provide. The network will be able to track 26 Earth-orbiting spacecraft simultaneously. And because TDRS satellites only relay data, they do not process it, 20 times more information will be handled by this network than could be by ground stations. All data will be relayed directly to the primary NASA ground terminal, White Sands, New Mexico, and from there via domestic satellite to other NASA centers.
And there you have it. Why TDRS handovers take a second. You see what because NASA still uses that. This video is from 1983. They still use those satellites. Just putting it out there.
Hello there, we're with you over...
Launch of TDRS was on time and nominal. First stage firing of the inertial upper stage also went well.
And Sunnyvale and White Sands send you a special attaboy.
However, halfway through the second stage firing, ground controllers lost communication with the satellite. It was an hour before even intermittent signals were picked up. They indicated TDRS had not yet separated from the IUS, and that both were tumbling at a very high rate of speed. Receiving only intermittent signals from Tidris, using short-life batteries which would soon be depleted, and getting no response to signals sent from the ground, made the outlook for Tidris bleak. Several more hours passed, and then something remarkable happened. Experts still aren't sure why, but either an automatic timing mechanism was engaged, or onboard systems finally acknowledged repeated commands from the ground, separating Tidris from the IUS.
Well, I do have some words.
Now on its own, the satellite stopped tumbling. Ground controllers commanded deployment of the solar array and antennas. However, they quickly learned Tidris was way off course and drifting farther every day. Their only hope of getting it back on course was to use the tiny hydrazine thrusters originally designed for minor attitude and velocity adjustments, not for boosting the 2.5-ton Tidris over 8,500 miles farther into space. But at least the satellite was not lost. NASA officials immediately put their plan into effect. Meanwhile, Shuttle Flight 6 continued as planned.
Okay, we're back with you, Milo, for about 12 more minutes. Got a good TV picture again.
Roger, Houston. Got the hatch closed, and we're waiting for a go for deep rest on time.
That sounds great, Bo.
Copy, we have a go for deep rest on time.
That's affirmative. You have a go. And Challenger, Houston's with you over Guam for about 7.5 minutes.
Roger, hatch is open. EV1 is halfway out. They're configuring the airlock, getting ready for Dawn to come out.
Okay, we're watching.
Houston, we have a suggested setting for the DAC camera now in the sunlight. Okay, Dawn.
This was America's first spacewalk in 9 years. The astronauts were attached by safety tethers to slide wires running just inside the payload bay. They wore a new design in spacesuits, also called extravehicular mobility units. A portable life support system was worn on the back, eliminating the need for a lifeline connected to the orbiter. These suits are not custom built for each astronaut. Tops and bottoms of different sizes can be mixed.
Still use those.
They are also more flexible than previous spacesuits. The crew removed tools from a storage locker in the front part of the payload bay.
Hooked on the door here, Connie. You want me just to leave it there? That's the inner hatch. I think it's a fine place to leave it. All right, I shall.
Then moved aft again. Using a cable run through a winch mounted on the bulkhead, then tied to the cradle that had held the IUS, the astronauts demonstrated they could have lowered the cradle manually had commands from on board failed.
There is Velcro here over the outer hatch. That's what I'm going to do, sorry. Velcro in the inner hatch over there. I'm afraid I'll kick it loose.
Winch operations were tested on the front bulkhead using an Exergenie as a load to see how many pounds the winch and line could handle.
The back pocket. Okay, I'll try that.
Lastly, the tools were re-stowed, and the astronauts re-entered the spacecraft.
I believe you've done it, Story.
Okay, we can watch more of that later. We Deliver is a great documentary. Really good stuff. Pretty cool, those EMUs. NASA still uses them. I mean, it's an upgraded version of that, but the design is the same. Yeah, pretty cool. I mean, considering that documentary is from 1983. I know what the next question is. Well, why haven't we made a better spacesuit? Well, when you don't go further than just going outside of the space station or a space shuttle, you don't really need another spacesuit, do you? Yeah, Endo, it does, right? Yeah. Okay, guys, yeah, let's jump into KSP. I'm gonna load it up right now. What do you think about Dune science? Dune science. What do you mean Dune science? I'm confused. It's sci-fi. I mean, like, I don't understand. $30 billion, that's why. Yeah. Dude, it's not sci-fi, it's fantasy. Yeah. Yeah. I think Dune is more of an epic than anything. I think it's an epic. It's not really sci-fi, but it's not Star Wars either. I think I don't think it's like, I would call it an epic. Yeah, it really, especially with the movie. The movie played out like an epic. I mean, hey Dutch guy, what's going on? Thanks for the raid, man. Alright, we have to work on a payload integration device. Star Wars isn't sci-fi either, it's space opera. Yeah. I think people just like saying that because we like to classify everything. And the reality of the situation is that you don't really need to do that. You know? But, personal opinion, I guess. Alright, let's go. Alright, we gotta build... Did extreme space repair, lots of tape. Nice. Nice, dude. I like to label myself as a non-labeler. What about the decision about canning the SSDO? I'm not gonna do that. I'm not doing that. It's not gonna take much more to get it right. I was just having a bad day. Seriously, it happens. I was just having a bad day. Dude, ever since I got back from Route 154, like, I've been having more bad days than usual, like being sick and stuff and other things are out and about, but I'm not gonna abandon something I've worked so hard on. I mean, the capability is there. Like, okay, here's what did it, all right? Look. Here's what did it. And this is something that was talked about, right? We talked about this. Okay, so... This thing. You see this thing? This thing works end to end. It's perfect. The ship works. It works fine. The only thing that we were even remotely concerned about was it blowing up on landing, and we fixed that problem. We proved that it works. Why would I abandon a fully working system just because some of the auxiliary systems for it either A, don't exist, or B, don't work very well? When has that ever stopped me in the past? You know? Screw that. Screw that. I put too much time and effort into this thing. No, we're gonna make this work. It's not gonna take much. Anth is already... a viewer in chat who helps me debug things from time to time, I basically gave him the pad craft file. The pad craft file's up on Kerbalife. We gave him the pad craft file. He found a bunch of small things that could be fixed to make the pad better. He's helping me address the part drift and stuff. And that and a couple, you know, that and just me looking at it without, like, having a bad day, just, yeah, no, I'm not getting rid of this. What are you, nuts? That happens when you get stuck in a box for 18 months, yeah. Yeah. I am 100% confident in end-to-end mission operations with this vehicle, Ando. From the second it leaves the pad to the second it touches down and rolls out and stops on the runway. I am 100% confident that it works, and it'll keep working, and it works every time. The launch pad stuff is the stuff that we need to fix. And I also need to design a payload integration mechanism for it today. What I was thinking, I mean, I just put this in here for the operational mission as kind of a test to see what was going on. But I have an idea for what we can do with a payload integration system for this vehicle. And I think we could make something really cool. Yeah, and I proved that it could work. This is number 9. We recovered number 9, but number 9 flies. It's flown a mission in mission mode lore. Check this out. Went ahead and stabilized the video of my last amateur launch. Watch Delta 4 lift off on it. Oh, okay. Oh, very nice. Oh, yes, this is very good. Still doing RimWorld music. Here. No, I'm not. You sound like a NASA rep after a failed mission. Yeah, sure. There's something wrong with your cup. It says Ford on it. This cup works just fine. This cup works just fine, and it has worked just fine for years because it's not a piece of junk. Haters gonna hate, bruh. How will this affect Dragon if they was still launching tonight? It won't. I don't know why this CME has made such big news. CMEs happen all the time. Goalie, the magnetic field's gonna take most of the hit. The most that we're gonna have is some cell phone signal disruptions, and you'll be able to see a Boreas at a lot lower latitude than normal. That's pretty much it, dude. I thought you got a cup with more freedom, though. I have plenty of more freedom cups. The magnitude of the CME is the key now. Anyway, let's get back into building this. So, guys, I want a way to put payload in this thing. Alright? And the way I want to do it is a little bit unconventional. And I don't know why I didn't think of this before. I probably should have done this for the small SSTO as well. But there's a really simple and easy way to put payloads inside of this thing. Okay? And this also makes it so I don't need to put this thing on the launch pad to put payload in it. So it actually, you know, the fact that we don't need the launch pad to put payload in actually will make this thing a little bit more useful. It'll actually make the pads last longer, because the less docking operations that you do on the pad, the less likely it is to drift. So here's my idea. So if we go and look at the regular, here, Venture Star. If we go and look at Venture Star, here, let's, down here. Oh, I don't want to get...
To develop technologies essential for lowering the cost of going to space.
It'll mute the VOD, I'm not kidding.
Lockheed Martin is building and will fly an extraordinary, fully reusable vehicle, the X-33.
Alright, I'm not doing that for the entire video. So, how they integrated it, how they wanted to do it with Venture Star is like this. So, if we go over here and we take a look. So they wanted to build a crane inside of a hangar, but here's the thing. they have an entirely movable hangar on rails, and then the hangar is covering the pad. That's how I made it with the small SSTO, but we don't need to do something like this, even though that actually is really cool. The part count is just too high. The number of parts on this Kerbal craft are too dang high. So what I'm thinking about doing is doing something maybe a little bit different, but still kind of cool. Here's the idea. It's borrowed from the Space Shuttle program, if you're familiar. Here you go.
Rising out of the flat desert sands in Edwards, California, is a giant metal structure standing 100 feet tall and almost 100 feet wide. It's made of industrial-strength steel that could withstand the harshest winds and rain. This monolith of the desert, located at NASA's Dryden Flight Research Center, has been an unsung hero in the life of the Space Shuttle program for the last 34 years. This steel giant is called the Mate-Demate device.
So, the Shuttle MDD, it's a type of structure that, it's the type of structure that basically was designed to take the shuttle and put it on the back of the 747. Long story short, when the shuttle comes into land, right, the shuttle.
Called escape operation.
Process involves a week of processing.
Let's go over here.
Processing the orbiter.
So when they bring the shuttle back, they lift it up like this, and then the 747 drives in underneath it, and they set it down. That's basically what I'm going to do with the payload bay. That's basically what I want set up. This is actually a pretty cool video if you guys want to see it. It's from NASA proper. I'll put the link in chat. Hey, Whiskey, 49-month resub. Basically, NASA decided in the 50s, that NASA didn't exist in the 50s, moron. NASA decided in the 70s that the easiest way to move this thing around, the simplest way, and probably one of the less expensive ways to move it around would be to just throw it on the back of a 747. That would be the easiest thing because the 747 already exists. It would require minimal modifications, right? Because the other way that they wanted to do it was like this. They had kind of a bunch of different ways, like, oh, how are we going to move around this huge orbiter? That was the other solution. Literally duct taping two C5s together and carrying the shuttle like Virgin Galactic style around. That was the other. I did, Swishio. Yes, that's correct. That's what they wanted to do. I don't think I need to tell you why that the 747 solution is a little bit easier. Now, this has its benefits here. The benefits is that this thing just drives right up to the shuttle, they latch it, and bye-bye, and then you're gone. The 747, while a simpler aircraft to modify to make accept the shuttle, it's on the top, right? So, it's on the top of the thing. So how do you get the shuttle up there? You need one heck of a crane, right? To get it to get this thing up there on top of this, right? Are we making this in KSP? Not this, remember, Pants. I have made a Mate-Demate device and a 747 and a shuttle in Kerbal before. I've done that. What I'm doing is I'm borrowing an idea from this to get another system working. But I have made this in KSP before. I've done approach and landing tests with my space shuttle in another save. Check it out. See? Built one in KSP before there were robotics in the game. See? Yeah, this was with no robotics and totally stock KSP. Yeah. I have these tubes up here and I put the spherical Stay-Putnik probe in there and I separated it. It becomes a different vehicle and it stays inside of these tubes, and then I use air brakes to pull it. And the air brakes can actually it pushes the Stay-Putnik up the tube, and that's attached to the shuttle bracket. Yeah. Kraken tech, man. Old school. So I've made a Mate-Demate device like this in KSP before. What I would like to use nowadays, where I need to borrow from this design is with this thing. I have a new vehicle here. This thing is based off of Lockheed's Venture Star project. I call this Jebstar because This program came about because I killed Jeb in a freak shuttle accident. Don't ask. So I decided to build SSTOs instead, or actually Chad helped me decide. Chad refreshed my memory to help me decide. No. So the cool thing about this is that it uses docking ports to hook into its pad. It has a reusable launch pad, and I can tow it around with docking ports, and you can reuse this thing. Like, I'm choking. Like, you can land this on the runway, tow it over back to the launch pad that we made for it. It'll attach to the launch pad. We can turn it upright with the launch pad and launch it again. Now, the thing is that if we're going to do that, I need a payload bay that I can both pull payloads out of and put new payloads in, right? So I need to build something that has a very similar design criteria for the mate-demate as the mate-demate device. It's very similar. Because how Lockheed wanted to do it was they had a giant removable hangar, and they had a giant hangar, and the hangar moved out of the way. Now, don't get me wrong, I could make this in KSP. I could make that. That's no problem. I have made that, but for a smaller version of this. But the launch pad that moves this thing, because this thing is big. It's a big launch pad for a big rocket. It's already like 1,000 parts, the launch pad. It's 1,600 parts when it has the vehicle on top of it. That's a lot of parts, and the game slows down a lot. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I could make this, but that would be another 1,000 parts. So I got to simplify it a little bit. I got to simplify this because that would be very difficult to make in KSP correctly. Movable hangars. I can do that. I've done it, but it would be a lot of parts for this. So we got to simplify it. So I'm thinking the way to simplify it would be to build something like the MDD that NASA uses for the space shuttle. Similar idea. I need to take a very heavy thing, right? We need to take a very heavy object, and we need to lift it up and then put it on top of another thing. Just like the mate-demate device. So this is what I'm deciding on for payload integration. Frankly, I probably should have done this for the small one too. NASA Chat Committee approves of your proposal. I mean, the side note, remember, Pants, is that, dude, building the big hangar, the launch pad would look sick. I have the small one. I built the X-33 because the Venture Star and the X-33 are designed to work. They were designed to go together. I built it. Let me see if we have a picture of it. There it is, right there. That's the small SSTO right there. See, I built the hangar and the crane and everything for it, and it works okay. But because this thing is small, this thing only has the small SSTO has 2-ton payload capacity. I have a small version of this, and then I have a big version of this. The big one, with that hangar would be a lot of parts. It's just not worth it. It's better to build something like a mate-demate. So, but yeah, see, I like Venture Star and the X-33. I thought that was an amazingly good project that NASA shouldn't have got rid of. Yeah, see, there it is right there. There's the whole launch complex. Yeah. Remember, Pants, in this save, in my Mission Mode 2 rules save, you have to build the pad. I've never launched anything off of the launch pad. Like, I've never, put it out, throttle up, SAS engaged, hit the spacebar. Never done that once in this save. Every rocket I've built a launch system for. The idea is to show end-to-end development, So, why not something like this with the clean room? That's the rotating service structure. Swishio, is it not? Yeah, you're the shuttle RSS. I mean, how do you launch the launch pads, though? That's not my department, Vasya. That's the Kraken's department. And certainly not by hitting the spacebar, throttling up, and hitting SAS, that's for sure. How many parts for the small SSTO and everything pad-related? About 1,000. For the SSTO with payload, the pad, and the crane? Yeah, it's a lot. This is a lot more manageable. This is why we operate this whole thing. We're going to keep operating the small one. I got to rebuild its launch complex. But that won't take very long. So, yeah, it's not bad at all. So we got to build something like the MDD here. Oh, yeah, baby. See, just on a side note, the dudes that have the scape suits on, no, not space suits, scape, SCAPE, they have the scape suits on. Those dudes are they're removing the fuel from the shuttle's OMS pods. They're doing a closeout, making sure that there's no residual hydrazine in this thing, inside of any of the shuttle systems. They safe out the OMS pods, and that's part of the shuttle powering down process. So they hook up to the umbilicals, and they basically evac all the propellants out of here, all the residuals, similar to like how someone would evac an air conditioning system on a car. It's actually probably using the same stuff. Yeah, see? When the shuttle first rolled out, yeah, see, these are the two modern ones, quote unquote. When the shuttle first rolled out, they made a bracket for it and they lifted it with cranes, SpaceX style. Seriously. Yeah, they did it. It was just like, dude, just like Starship. Believe it or not, now that I'm really thinking about it, it's just like Starship. They used a bunch of cranes. That's it. They used a bunch of freaking cranes. One crane in the back to lift up the tail end of this bracket, and one in the front, and that's it. You need a bigger crane in the back because the center of mass is rearwards on the shuttle, right? Yeah, actually, that's very interesting. MDD. That's actually super interesting. You know, I didn't really think about that. You know, they used cranes. It's just like Starship. They, you know, at the early parts of the shuttle program, they didn't know what they were doing. Just use a crane. That might work. Yo, bro. That's awesome. Oh, that's so cool. Ooh, that's so cool. Can I just...
When it gets there, then we're usually pretty dry here.
In this event, a landing elsewhere would necessitate bringing the shuttle back to Florida, which meant the need for a structure.
How is the shuttle carrying that plane?
Off the ground and placing it on the back of the 747 shuttle carrier aircraft.
That's what we need to do. Did you see that?
Back to Florida, which meant the
that
need
right there.
for a structure.
We'll lift the payload up. We move the SSTO in down below here. We're going to need some kind of alignment mechanism to make sure that the payloads aren't installed like crooked inside of the payload bay. We need an aligning piece to move the SSTO into position. And then we open up the payload bay and we put the payloads into the payload bay, just like a bridge crane. Just like with the Freedom rocket, literally the same thing.
The back of the 747 shuttle carrier aircraft.
Orbiter attaches here,
Using
black side
to
down.
Lift and attach an orbiter was deemed a far too delicate balancing act to sustain over the course of the shuttle program.
And just using cranes. Actually, it's funny you mentioned that, Flykin. When NASA was doing the approach and landing tests, when the 747 actually left the space shuttle and they landed the shuttle, they landed Enterprise, they did it 5 times in 1977. When they did that, believe it or not, the shuttle was keeping the 747 flying. Yeah, funny story. The shuttle, they basically, with the approach and landing test here, I'll show you. It's funny, like, I know you were making a joke, I get it, but when they did this, when they had the sucker up there, all right, so take a look. They had an extended bipod on this comparatively through the rest of the program. This is when they took the test orbiter, what's called an AFTA, the Atmospheric Flight Test Article. They separated it. And then they tried flying it around to see how the shuttle flies. I don't know how it's going to fly. You got to test it. I mean, it's 1977. There are computers, but they're primitive. They can't do the simulations that we can do now. So they yeeted it off the back of N905. November 905, November Alpha. It's just 90, or you could say NASA 905. That's fine, or just 905. But what they did basically was put the 747 into an induced stall. And the lift that was being generated from the shuttle's wings was enough to keep the thing kind of flying correctly. And then when they separated the shuttle, the 747 was no longer generating enough lift, and they basically stalled the thing right at the point when they separated the shuttle. And so like when you watch the approach and landing tests, believe it or not, the shuttle is keeping the 747 flying. They stalled the thing. And the only thing that was, like, if there was nothing on its back, the 747 would just fall out of the sky, right? They did that during the approach and landing tests. They basically stalled it. And when you see the 747 separating from the shuttle, it's not so much the shuttle pulling away from the 747, but the 747 literally falling out of the sky. That was the only way they could separate it safely. So you say, oh, how's the shuttle? What's that thing attached to the bottom of the shuttle? It's lifting the whole thing. You make a joke, but that actually happened.
Go and throttle up.
Yeah. Yeah, Leglander, they're pretty cool, right? Mm-hmm. Minion, 49-month resub. Yeah, and if anybody's saying like, no, that's not what they did. No, dude, this is right from Fred Hayes. I've talked to him face to face about this. The guy that was flying the damn thing. Apollo 13, Fred Hayes. He goes, yeah, they stalled the 747 so we could get away without hitting the dang tail. Because if you just jetted this off the back, right, what's the shuttle going to do? It's going to go backwards and it's going to hit the tail. So they stalled it. You need the 747 to go this way, not that way. So they would put it into a way that the shuttle with its wings was generating enough lift, and then when they separated, the 747 falls, and the shuttle kind of keeps going. So yeah, there were times where the shuttle was actually keeping the 747 flying during the approach and landing tests, which is pretty cool. So yeah, we got to make this. So the shuttle's wings are super efficient, despite the thing being a giant white pickle in the sky. They're not efficient. They're wings. They generate lift. You gotta understand, Flacken. The shuttle is a blended wing body. The entire bottom of the shuttle generates lift, but it only generates a lot of lift at high angles of attack. So you got to get the nose of the shuttle up. The shuttle doesn't generate much lift like this. The more relative your angle of attack is, so the higher your AOA is, the more lift it's going to generate. But if you go too high, it's going to turn it into a giant speed brake, which is how it re-enters. The shuttle hits the atmosphere at 45 degrees like this. Actually, it hits it low, if you really want to be honest. If I'm going to be honest, it hits entry interface like this, and as it goes around the planet more and more, so you're rotating around the planet, the AOA gets higher and higher and higher. And then when it gets to 45, they've slowed down and it stalls. And then this is up at like 100,000 feet, and then they just nosedive it at the runway, basically. It's a little more complicated than that, but it's falling with style. Yep. At separation, the orbiter generated 1.6 times its weight in lift. It's because of its delta wings. The delta wings generate delta wings with the strake. So the wing kind of looks like this. You have that forward part, and then you have the actual like wing piece like this. See the strake right there? The strake, I call it an armpit. The wing has like an armpit right there. See that? That at high angles of attack generates insane amounts of lift. That was the only way they could get the shuttle to generate enough lift to land on the runway. They had to go with this strake design. Now, the reason that it does this is because what this does is when the air goes over the wing, it swirls. This armpit thing makes the air swirl over the top of the wing. It creates what's called a vortex over the top, and the vortex creates insanely low pressure on the top side of the wing. You generate more low pressure on the top side of the wing, and you're angled up. At the bottom of the orbiter has really high pressure, low pressure on the top, high pressure on the bottom. Bernoulli's principle generates crazy lift. So when the shuttle was flying like this on the back of the 747, it was generating insane amounts of lift because the 747 engines were keeping it going. But when they separated the shuttle, right? When they separated the dang thing, the 747 no longer had all that lift being generated by the shuttle's wings, and it literally fell out of the sky. I mean, the pilot, they didn't fall out of the sky and crash. They went and landed back at the runway, but... Hey, Defiant, what's going on? 25-month resub. That's correct, Flecken. Yep, use anything you can to your advantage. You can do that in KSP too, but you can do that in KSP as well, but KSP is the semi-major axis. KSP's diameter is a lot smaller than it is on Earth, so you pitch up a lot faster, which doesn't really... not really that useful. if you made the thing right, yes, I suppose. I could probably do that with the big SSTOs, but I think the big SSTOs generate too much drag. See, there's your approach and landing system test right there. There's the ALTs. I've talked to the guy that was flying that shuttle right there. Bro, see? Look at how it's flying. See that? Did you see that picture? That picture tells the story very well. It describes exactly what I'm talking about. So, this camera is tilted a little bit, but look at the horizon. You can just barely see the horizon right there. So the 747 is probably at like 5 or 6 degrees plus angle of attack. But look at the shuttle. The shuttle's like 35 degrees. They have the wings pitched up to generate all that extra lift. To do that induced stall thing that I'm telling you about. And then you see a little bit later, when they didn't have to jettison the shuttles off the back, they lowered that bipod strut. See that? Because the shuttle's wings generating a lot of lift like that also generate a lot of drag, low pressure. So, you know, when they were transporting the shuttle around, they didn't have it up like this. They had it down like that. So the shuttle wouldn't generate as much lift, but it also wouldn't generate as much drag. Drag is a byproduct of lift. It happens. Yeah, see, this is what we got to do right here. Oh, man, that's so cool. We should go back to doing this. You know what, Tars? If you're still here, you're right. You're right. With modern manufacturing, we could make the shuttle and basically eliminate most of the, like, you could eliminate most of the failure modes. Yeah. You could eliminate most of the failure modes. I'm pretty damn sure. You might not... The only thing that you might have some problems with is, I mean, there's still permeation of the spray-on foam insulation. But, now, keep in mind, this, I'm not, like, super well-versed in thermal protection systems and cryogenic propellants for rockets, but if you look at Blue Origin, right? You look at you know, Blue Origin's rocket, okay? I get it. Yes, I know what it looks like. Yeah, I know. I get it. It's using hydrogen. This rocket uses hydrolox, okay? Same propellants as the space shuttle. The space shuttle's main engine's in its external tank, not the boosters on the side, not the white boosters, the orange tank. This is using the same fuel and the same oxidizer. There's no ice on this. And I'm pretty sure that nothing flies off on this thing either. I mean, look, something that folks don't really know too much about is that it's really difficult to paint stuff on the outside of a rocket. Why is it difficult to paint stuff on the outside of the rocket? Well, the outside of rockets get cold and they condense, right? It gets wet. But Blue Origin is clearly able to paint the side of their Hydrolox rocket with paint. I.e., you know, there's not much ice going on around here. Not enough to hit the thermal protection system or something. So there are ways to get around, you know, the problems that happen with Columbia. Now, don't get me wrong. The other reason why you don't paint Hydrolox rockets is because the hydrogen gets so cold it condenses on the outside. It'll literally freeze the paint off, which you do see that kind of going on here on the Feather. That might be vinyl, but there's definitely paint right here, Louiso. See? Paint right there, and there's the flag. Yeah, the paint on the flag got frozen off a little bit. But you see what I'm talking about? There are ways to mitigate some of the big problems that the space shuttle had. Like, there's ways to get around it, which is... I'm convinced that, you know, you could do this with modern stuff and it would work just fine. Paint also could have been burned off during landing, for sure. All right. So, let's go in here. Let me get satisfactory music going. We got to build a mate-demate device. Would jet engines be worth it on a new shuttle? Nah. Floating, I don't think you need jet engines. Really, the shuttle doesn't need jet engines. You know how I know? Did they have any problems ever with the shuttle during landings? I know people are going to say Columbia. Well, that where Columbia was, jet engines wouldn't have made a difference at all. All right, that wouldn't have made that. No, that wouldn't have helped in the least. There's not much you can do when plasma rips the orbiter in half. I don't think jet engines will fix that. Rip to the Columbia 7. I don't like talking about that too much. But anyway, like I'm talking about like after the shuttle's gone through the fiery stuff. Did they ever have any problems with that? No. Jet engines are just dead weight at that point. You don't need to do that. Now, with something like Buran, for instance, if you're going to do something like that, you could put jet engines on that. Sure, that airframe is designed to have weight in the back. That's why the Russians put jet engines on the back of their shuttle, and it flew around just fine. If anything, not putting jet engines on the back of it, or not putting something in the back of that thing that has a lot of mass, right? Would make that airframe tremendously unstable. The shuttle is not designed. The shuttle's airframe, that shape, is not designed to fly very well with the center of mass actually in the center. It needs to have a heavy rear end, or else it's not going to fly right. I don't think you need jet engines. Jet engines wouldn't make the shuttle any better or worse. The only thing that's going to do is increase your cross-range capability a little bit and decrease your payload capacity and make the thing more complicated. You don't need to do that. They wanted to put jet engines on it, but they realized that the shuttle surfing on waves of plasma will do everything and anything that the jet engines will do. No problem. How's the big boy SSTO going? Good. Anth is actually helping me diagnose the pad, and he's actually squashed a lot of bugs with it, Drummer, and I'm actually pretty damn happy about it. So, here, alright. LV5B2, payload change out, vehicle. Payload change out, vehicle. Where? Let's just call it payload changeout device. That's more. Yeah. Maybe a jet engine that replaces the OMS pod so the shuttle can fly itself to different launch locations, like they did with Buran. Yeah, I suppose that would be a plus, Luizo, but they never did that with Buran. The Buran was shipped in pieces to Baikonur. And then the they had the AN-225 moving around. I'm confident, Drummer. I nixed the poll. I'm just, dude, I've had a couple of bad days. Like, the sickness is really pissing me off, and yeah. I've been in a little bit of a weird funk after Route 154, like, you know, for 2 weeks my routine was completely screwed up. So going from like doing 15-hour streams to doing like 12-hour driving streams at a different time during the day, doing that for 2 weeks straight, and then coming back and trying to adapt back into my schedule that I'd been building up over like the course of the quarantine, right? That was tough. It's been tough, but I'm good now. It was hard getting back into the swing of things. But yeah, I let, you know, me having a bad day cloud my judgment. This thing is awesome. And we're using it. Yeah, dude, like I've been in a little bit of a funk, man. It's really annoying because I want to come in here and I want to give you guys my best, and it's really annoying when I can't. It pisses me off. I get really, really upset with that. Like, I don't like coming in here and wasting people's time. It's very frustrating. Buran had a jet engine model to fly around. Yeah, Louisa, they only used that for atmospheric tests. They never used it to fly to another runway because Buran doesn't have another runway. It was Baikonur and that's it. Did I miss blowing one of these up recently? No. I tried to reintegrate the one that flew, Pop Bear, and I was like, ugh, it didn't work. The pad has some problems, and I was like, I don't feel like fixing this. I basically got lazy. Because I let laziness and apathy, I guess, cloud my judgment, and I was like, maybe we should just go back to using the easier rockets, like the Freedom rockets. And then I was like, you know what? Nah. The hell with that. GTA soon, right? Yes. Alright. I want the bridge crane. The bridge crane from this tower. That's what we need. We're going to do Early Hunt the Streamer, guys. The reason why we're going to do Early Hunt the Streamer is because Crew 3 was supposed to be tonight. Crew 3 got scrubbed early this morning. And it's now on... It's now Tuesday, late Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning launch. But I already told everybody that Hunt the Streamer was going to be in the mid-hour slot. I've been telling people the entire week. So I know that people are going to come in here in about an hour and be like, hey, where's Hunt the Streamer? So I skipped Space News for the day. I pushed Space News to try and get this stuff done. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Just need the top of the bridge crane. I'm trying to make something like that. This mate demate device. How did I do it before? Nice picture with the moon right there. So, I'm using the bridge crane from the Freedom rockets. We're going to use that because that's the length of the payload bay, right? So this will be good for putting stuff in the payload bay. Now what we have to do is build a stronger structure for this thing. And it needs to kind of be centered around this. So here's what we're going to do. Give me just a regular old girder segment right here. And I'm going to go in here. And I'm going to attach that girder segment to the root part of the SSTO, which is the payload fairing. We're going to absolute snap to make sure that this is right. Let's go like this. Go up here like this. And just turn this down. If you hold left shift, you can move stuff far away, right? And then I'm going to take the crane subassembly and we're going to attach it to it. So this is what we have with the crane. Perfect. Now, a couple of things to take into account here. The idea with this is that we drive the payload in underneath the crane. It picks the payload up, and then we roll the SSTO in underneath this thing, and then we drop the payload in. So we don't need to like pick it up over here, bring it back, and move it down. I'm trying to simplify the operations. If we do this right, all we should have to do is just literally pick the payload up, SSTO in, payload down. That's it. Now I'm thinking about what if there's multiple payloads? Oh, crap. How do we align the SSTO? I haven't figured that one out yet, but alignment is going to be key. Just do 2 flights. No, Han, we have a giant payload bay. Launching one payload with this is not going to be cost effective. This SSTO, it's fully reusable. So let's just take the price of the pad and the price of the SSTO and put it over there. We don't need that. It costs $100K in fuel to get this thing into space. $100,000 worth of gas to fill this thing up and get it up into space. So I need to have at least a couple of missions in there as a ride share to be able to generate a little bit of profit with this thing. You know, it's expensive to launch, but you have the capability of putting a bunch of payloads in there. I need to be able to put a bunch of payloads in, basically. Should we make a standard payload adapter like the small boy? Yes. Yeah, but this one's going to need to be a little bit more complicated, Wookie, because I need multiple payload adapters. Better let the crane have a small bit of movement than trying to line up the SSTO on a dime. Various payload adapters depending on how many payloads you need. So how do we configure it though, IDES? Making a 2-axis crane is too difficult. Well, this crane is 2-axis. It goes forward, back, and up and down. It doesn't go left, right. I don't need it to go left and right. I'm thinking. So if I have like 3 or 4 different satellites I need to put in here, how would we get around that? One large payload adapter you could put multiple loads on, including dummies for balance. No need for dummy payloads, John, but yeah. Last, curious with the width of the orbiter. Are you going to have the orbiter pull in and out from the same side? Yeah, exactly like the mate-demate element. Yeah. So, pull it in this way, and then jet truck can push it out. Not a drive-through. No. That will enable me to be able to have some type of mechanism to for alignment. Like I said, basically the mate-demate device. Yeah, it's the MDD. It's very similar. You could have 3 or 4 mounting points for a small payload adapter, and then just have a bigger payload adapter that uses multiple ports for bigger payloads. Could you make a pad for loading that can shift the SSTO as needed? A drive and alignment is not a bad idea element, but that means I need to make a ramp for this thing, you know? Why not just take multiple trips with the crane? Have a bunch of docking ports in the payload bay. Bigger payloads can use more docking ports. I'm thinking. So like, okay, say I have 2 payloads to put into this thing, right? You have one payload that goes like here, and then another payload that goes like right here. All right, so what do? We pick up the first payload, roll this thing in, drop the payload in, then what? Do we roll it out, pick up the next payload and put it in? No, that doesn't... rolling the vehicle in and out like that all the time is... I don't think that's the right move. We need a way to stage it. Yeah, element. Yeah, okay. Does the crane crawl? Ideally, I would want the crane to stay in a fixed position, but tuning, I have to move it. I mean, I have to... The other thing that I want is I don't want the payload operations to be anywhere near the pad. One of the problems with the small SSTO is the fact that I needed to put... I had to put payloads into the vehicle while it was docked to the pad. While it's docked to the pad like that creates a ton of drift. Docking to the pad can bend parts out of alignment and stuff, and it causes docking port drift as well. So I'm eliminating that from the larger SSTO payload options. And now, don't get me wrong, the downside of that, or the plus side, is that the pad can last longer. All right, we can prevent a lot of drift happening from the pad with the pad, right? The benefit of that. That's the benefit. The downside is that I need a payload area. I need a payload integration area that's out of render range of the launch pad. So like this area might end up at like the museum or something. You know what I mean? Just somewhere that's out of render range of the pad. We could even put this out at Launch Complex 3 if we really wanted to. How does a battleship load ammo? Something like that. They use cranes. Let's see. Can you make the horizontal linear bearings longer and then just pick up the payload from behind it? We could do that, Ryan. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, that is an option. Absolutely. Like, yeah. Yes, I could do that. Mm-hmm. This checkerboard flag is marking the center of mass, guys. I know the CO, it's like, what do you mean it's marking the center of mass? Well, we have the truck attached to it and the crane attached to it, and that's throwing the center of mass out of alignment. That's where the COM of the vehicle is if you're looking at it from the top. Okay. We're gonna need to have some configurability with this thing. Have some docking ports near the ground. Bring the payload in, lift off the truck, dock to the storage ports, rinse and repeat. Hey, Rocket Guy, what's going on? Yeah, Wookie, that's what I'm thinking about. That's why I'm looking at the payload bay now. Yeah, we need to come up with a pallet system for our payload bay. So what does that mean? So the space shuttle, because we're using basically a space shuttle's bay, I figured it'd probably be better to, you know, take some keys here, right? Take some hints from this. So the shuttle's payload bay had these things called SPAS. They're shuttle pallet systems, right? The shuttle pallet system basically were U-shaped pallets that mirror the shape of the payload bay that you could just basically put whatever on. You could put whatever you need in there. And they pick up on points on the sides of the payload bay. They're actually being held on the sides of the payload bay. So like if you have a U-shaped adapter, there's pins at either side like this, and those it hangs it in the payload bay. It could be an ISS module like Kibo right there, or this is a shuttle pallet with Dexter. These are all ISS parts, and the ISS part is shipped on a pallet, just like a part would be shipped on a pallet to Boca Chica or something. And then up at the front of the payload bay, that's the airlock and the docking adapter. So that's the shuttle's docking ring. That also can be removed if the shuttle needed to, if you needed to change the payload bay around. Like for instance, if there was a mission where the shuttle you didn't need to dock to anything, and the shuttle, they didn't need to do an EVA, they'd just take this thing out, and then they just close that door and seal it off, and you wouldn't have an airlock or anything. You didn't need to go outside. I think you should start with making a set of payload adapters since... Okay, I already did that. So, making configurable pallets would probably be a good idea, like what we did with the small SSTO. Like I said, the shuttle pallets are these U-shaped pallets. There's one right there. We can do a simplified version of that. We got to be cognizant of part count, guys. So our center of mass indicator is right there. We're going to need to reconfigure the payload bay in all of my orbiters, but we only have one quote-unquote operational one right now. I think it would be better to put a docking port on the center of mass right there. Right? I'll keep the indicator to show that that's the COM, right? I'll keep the indicator flag there, but we'll keep that one there. And then maybe we can put another one here and then another one like right here. And we can make these the mounts for, you know, whatever we need. Howdy, Racer. How goes the cargo build stuff? It goes all right. I'm a little embarrassed that I got a little pissed off last night, X, but I was doing really good. I was doing really good. I apologize to Max, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm kind of being a dick. But man, I was doing so freaking good. Fucking asshole. Excuse me. I gotta time myself out. I was doing so damn good, man. I was on pace, man. The car was on pace, and I set the car up myself. I set the car up myself, and it was on pace. I didn't borrow anybody's setup. Super, super excited about it. I'm like, man, I got it to work. I understand what the physics. Oh, no, never mind. Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is. It's fine. It's fine. All right, so I'm making sure these docking ports are good distances apart. So I'm using I-beams just as kind of a caliper to figure out how far apart these things need to be. I think 4 of them would probably be right. That would probably be good so I could configure this to do a bunch of different things. Now, if we... Okay. Now, give me this port right here, and then I'll add one to the back. Yeah, oh my. This docking port needs to be attached here, not to that payload segment, or else none of these will be spaced evenly. There we go. Okay, so all these docking ports are evenly spaced. Right there. My center of mass indicator is here. Now, the COM indicator is very important, because if we're taking payloads down, I need the center of mass of whatever payload we're taking back down to be basically coplanar with this center of mass on the vehicle, or else it ain't gonna fly right. I think I got 5th or something Roblox, but man, dude, yeah, it screwed me up. Sucks, but hey, yeah, no, I went and make sure I apologize for being a jerk, but still doesn't make me less annoyed. No, I'm just kidding. All right, anyway, so get out of here like this. I think this is okay. So I would prefer to dock like this, like, and then maybe use like same vessel interaction to get like the bars for the shuttle's active passive latching system. Like, see, there's pins on the side of the payload, and there's also pins. There's downward facing pins too, but the pins are primarily attached. Like they're attached left to right. Now, once again, I can't do that. I can't attach them that way. Kerbal will only allow one primary attachment point. Now, I could put secondary docking ports and stuff, but that isn't going to help me line anything up. That, and you shouldn't use docking ports for structure. Docking ports think of docking ports as like nuts and bolts to hold things together. All right? Use same vessel interaction to make some type of locking mechanism. You can always rotate the ports now in flight. I don't trust that. I don't trust that at all. Wookie, but yeah, I don't trust that. Don't be annoyed. They keep me from pizza. Oh, okay. Now, let's see. Let's take a look here. How did I do it? How did I do it with Collins? I was trying to devise a modular payload bay like this. For Collins. Once upon a time. And don't get me wrong, we're not using this craft file. I'm just kind of peeping on it. Yeah, see? There's the docking ports. I use shielded docking ports because they have an open and closed state. Because, well, yeah, see, what I was going to do is lock the vehicle in with Kraken Tech and then open up the port to dock the thing. That's what I used for a latching system. We used thermo bearings. Well, these are all physics-less parts nowadays, so same vessel interaction doesn't really work with this. But see, the idea is that this would lock in and these would hold it in place and they would keep it from moving, but also it would dock. And then I have the robotic arm as well. Man, this thing is cool. Would have been awesome. Doesn't mean we can't use it here, though. All right, so how will we do something like this? I'm thinking, guys, I'm thinking. The payloads can already be spawned in the pallets. It would make the integration and de-integration standardized and very easy. Yeah, Swish, I already do that. Yeah, no, yeah, that was planned from the beginning, man. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah. No, yeah. No, dude. I'm not putting the payload on the... I'm not making the adapters reusable. Screw that. No, the adapters... We could put that together in the SPH and then put the payload with the adapter on it out. I'm not... No. I'm not making reusable adapters. Unless we need to bring a payload back down, right? Otherwise, hell no. No. Like, the only time I would make a reusable one is if, you know... Like, for our transfer stages, right? So the stages that I use to move Kerbals out to the moon and back, right? That would need a reusable pallet because I need to separate it and then I need to bring the thing back and redock it, right? Yeah, otherwise the adapters will not be reused. Like, I'll land with them and then we'll just pluck them out. Or we could jettison them before re-entry, but I don't really want to do that. I missed trips to space building Crippen with the Kraken arm. Indy, I'm basically gearing up to do that with this. That's why I'm studying Collins. Because what did we do with that? Indy, can you imagine building a new station, a new Crippen station with this thing? We could do it. This thing can move more than Collins into space. Oh, and also this. Also, Shuttle Centaur. Yeah, Shuttle Centaur. These, yeah, I'm going to make a upgraded transfer stage. We're going to make an upgraded transfer stage, and I'm going to make it so this thing basically is two-stage. It's single stage to orbit, and then there's a second stage that I can attach stuff to, move it out to the moon, bring that stuff back, put it back in the payload bay, bring the SSDO down, pull the stage out, right? Or just leave it in there, fill it up with fuel on using the launch pad, send it back up again. No more discarded stages. Hell no, I'm not doing that. We're paying for this capability. We damn sure better be using it. Yeah, there's one Shuttle Centaur that still exists. And it's freaking awesome. They should have done that. Okay, so think about this for a second. This thing has the Delta V, of the ICPS. It basically turns the space shuttle into a Block 1 SLS. So, like, oh, I don't know, if you wanted to put a capsule on top of this thing and send it out to the frickin' moon using the space shuttle, you could have done that, but they decided they didn't want to do that because the shuttle isn't safe. Like, just didn't happen. Shame. That could all be done. The shuttle had all the equipment ready to be able to make something like that. I'm going to do that. I'm cool with the new station as long as you don't hit it with your wing again. Well, we won't hit it with a shuttle wing. If we're going to hit it with a wing, because this has no shuttle wings on it. It's just sitting outside unprotected. Don't defund your space program. Yeah, that's a really dumb idea. I wouldn't do that. All right, anyway, let's design the pallets here. So, we need a couple of different type of pallets, all right? So, what I'm going to do here is bring in what I should do here is bring in all the different types of satellites, and we should make adapters for every type of satellite. Are EVA struts a terrible idea instead of curb and latches to secure pallets to the side of the bay? I mean, that's doable. It's doable, but it still doesn't solve an alignment problem. I got some ideas, Wookie. I mean, we could always do that. I could do that if we needed to. Yeah, we could run our own struts with Kerbals outside, like, in the payload changeout device, right? We could do that. That's totally fine. Alright, what are the types of things that we have here? So we have our the Mark 6 SAT bus, like that. Alright. Yeah, the bumper panels, exactly. Yeah, we could do that, Wookie, but I would prefer... I'm going to use bumper panels, but I'll show you how in a second. So we have that. We have the lug nut. We should make adapters for all of this. I find that EVA struts just tend to like undo themselves too. That's the other thing. Like, they tend to just undo themselves. Like, if you leave the scene and come back, they just... Yeah. I'm putting out all the different satellite buses that I have. All the different designs for satellites that we use for commercial missions. So we have the MEV. There's the lug nut. There's the Mark 6 resource satellite. And don't get me wrong, we can make new satellites now. If we really wanted to. They designed new satellites around the shuttle's payload bay anyway. EVA struts for getting their connections is something that was fixed in 1.12. Oh, well, that's good. Oh. I thought that was fixed in... Oh, alright. Well... Maybe I should read patch notes then. Cough drops. These things are my saving grace, man. Without these damn cough drops, I would not be able to stream. I would just be coughing everywhere. Coughing. You know what? I think it might be wise to just make new satellites. Make new satellites, because all these satellites are bound by like a 2-ton payload capacity. We have much more payload capacity to work with, so we can make better satellites. Let's just come up with a universal pallet. The ground clamp is in the game you walk. It works okay. Alright, so here's what I'm thinking. Something like this. Also, the diameter is way bigger now. Yeah, indeed. Let's move this down here to give us as much space as we possibly can muster here. Alright, now give me this. Go into 2x sim. .45 degrees out like this. Actually, we could probably go further with it. Once again, we got to be careful about part count. So here, what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm basically going to build what I want. I'm going to build what I want to make for a shuttle pallet and a deployment mechanism. We're going to make what we want, and then we'll see kind of where that takes us. Yeah. How's your day going, Builder? I'm good. How are you? The shuttle had a, you know, there's a shuttle pallet. See it right there? So the shuttle pallet basically is a, that one right there. There's tons of different variations of these dang things. Okay, that one right there is a powered shuttle pallet. There's powered pallets. There's unpowered pallets. There's pallets that have payload dispensers on them. There's pallets that have. The shuttle could launch a bunch of different types of satellites. There's an IUS deployer. There's the Centaur G deployer. They were all like once again, they're like pallets, like in a truck. It's the same idea, only it's space. They were made out of an aluminum frame like this, or aluminum. See them right there? And they were designed to just cradle payloads inside of the shuttle's payload bay. Yeah, see, there's a powered and an unpowered one. So if you had a science experiment that you wanted to run and you wanted to bring it up, see, NASA was really smart with this. If there was a science experiment that you wanted to run and the shuttle's main mission was moving 10 tons into space, well, the shuttle had a 25-ton payload capacity. You have 25-ton payload capacity and 7 people. So what NASA would do throughout the 80s and into the 90s is if they would just fill up the aggregate payload space. You know, if the primary mission for the shuttle was like to go and service a satellite, right? Well, all you need is your satellite servicing structure, right? And the robotic arm. And the shuttle, but the shuttle has 25-ton payload capacity. So they'd put a bunch of experiments and stuff in there, or secondary payloads, or tertiary payloads. A bunch of small sats. And commercial, you could buy payload-based space on the damn shuttle. It was called the Getaway Special, and it was a really smart idea. It helped keep the cost of the shuttle program down. That has the ICAM on it. So this is from STS-3. Could be better. Don't have a lot of trust with your friends right now. It could always be worse, though. Glad you're doing well. Builder, that's just being a teenager. I told you this. Don't worry about it. Who cares? It means dick. Screw those people. You're not gonna know them in another couple of years. In like another couple of years, they'll be an afterthought. Hang on. You know what I'm gonna do? Let's go here. I need to read. So NASA Technical Resources. Shuttle Payload Bay Operations. So, you guys want to learn something about NASA? About any particular NASA project? Actually, you know what would be better? Shuttle pallet. Use NASA Technical Resources. Floated pallet definition study summary volume. This conceptual design of a suspension system for the floating pallet. No, I don't need that. ISS external payload accommodations. Actually, the funny thing is that one of these pallets is still up there. That just actually reminded me. On the outside of the Japanese experiment module, Kibo, the external payload accommodation, that's just a modified shuttle pallet. Orion, multi-purpose crew vehicle service module avionics ring pallet testing. Oh, that's cool. Expandable pallet for space station interface attachments. Details. Ian, it happens, dude. Yeah, you need an inquiry for that one. I hate it when this happens. Some of this stuff is available for download. Some of it's public resource, but some of it's patent, which is stupid. But I understand. Alright, we gotta make something. Okay. I know, but they keep doing fishy stuff behind my back, and it's giving me bad anxiety. If they're doing fishy stuff behind your back, they're not your friend. Straight up. They're a bad friend. Friends don't talk about each other behind their back, especially talk bad about each other. In fact, Builder, you know what a good rule of thumb to live by is? Don't talk bad about anything or anyone, especially in 2021, dude. I mean, I do that with Eric Berger, but that's different. You know what I mean? It's not, but you shouldn't really say anything bad about anything in this day and age, dude. You never know who's listening. Just anybody that does that in this day and age, they ain't your friend. They ain't your friend, right? And okay, I know that this is the adult way of saying it, right? Okay, you want me to look at it from how I would have looked at it in high school? It's Builder, you know, why is this person being a piece of crap? What did I do to them, right? Like, what did I do to them? You want me to frame it? This is how you look at it, right? You tell me. Why are they being a piece of crap? I'm nothing but nice to this person, and they're talking about me behind my back and doing all this sketchy stuff. Like, what the heck did I do to deserve this? You know what? Probably nothing. Probably nothing. They're probably talking about you behind your back to gain social status somewhere else, because high school has this stupid hierarchy, you know, of like who's cool and who's not. And I noticed that when I was younger, and I couldn't put words into it because I didn't know any better, right? People will make fun of somebody else behind their back. Teenagers will even make fun of their own friends behind their back to gain social status with other cliques. You know, if you're trying to get into a clique of kids, right, and those kids don't like the person that you're friends with, you'll go and you'll be a piece of crap to that friend, okay? And you'll talk crap about them behind their back to gain favor with that. It's just standard human social interaction, man. This EJ guy sucks. I don't know why I watch him. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Josh. The people, dude. Once again, Eric Berger, I think, is kind of an idiot, and anything that I say on the stream isn't anything that I wouldn't say to his face. You know what I mean? I'd be like, dude, I think your articles are terrible. Like, you're a great writer, but you're making stuff up. Like, it's pretty obvious, right? Like, you shouldn't say anything to anybody that you wouldn't say to somebody face to face. You know what I mean? Like, so Builder, long story short, at the end of the day, screw them. Screw them. You have bigger fish to fry. What? You know, if this person is trying to say that to gain favor in some kind of hierarchy and make it in with the cool kids, because that was the thing when I was younger. But see, like, I kind of, like, when I was like 15, 16, I kind of wanted to be one of the cool kids, but like, that would have been nice. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, dude, I was not a popular person in high school. No way. I wasn't a popular person. I was kind of a loner. Because sitting home and playing video games doesn't teach you to be the most sociable person around. So, how I thought social interaction worked was not right. Yeah. Hey, Kelly, what's going on? My work shift got canceled, so here you are. When you shoot 200 rounds in a fish tank, you'll eventually get one or two fish. Yeah, exactly. Broken clock is right twice a day, Swishio. Mm-hmm. So, like, once again, it's not to say that, I got made fun of or bullied. I mean, everybody gets bullied. But I certainly painted a target on my back when I was younger. Like, I would come in and I didn't realize that talking about video games wasn't cool because video games was my world. And I would just keep doing it, and people would get sick of it. They'd get sick of it. Right? Nobody wanted to hear about Counter-Strike. But I didn't really understand that because my world was Counter-Strike or my world was Halo or whatever, right? So people use that as I got made fun of because of that, right? And nobody really wanted to be friends with me because they knew I would just talk their ear off about something that I'm passionate about. Oh, funny how that works, huh? Oops. GameCube. And I had a circle of friends who were also pretty nerdy, right? And I like those guys. I don't talk to them that much anymore, dude, which really sucks. And they're good people, but dude, I had friendships break up over that kind of stuff. People made fun of me all the time people use me as a way to get in with the cool kids by making fun of me because I'm an easy target. Like I said, painted a target on my back. That guy just reads video game stuff all day. What a loser. I mean, keep in mind this is 15 years ago. Playing video games is super socially acceptable today. It was not socially acceptable 15 years ago. You kind of kept that on the DL. Like, my ideas about how social interaction worked came from the internet. So yeah, I was damaged goods from the start. So I didn't really have a lot of friends in high school.
Discovery, go and drop up.
Or worse, RPGs, yeah. Hey, make a 14-month resub. Thank you for that. It means a lot, but they aren't necessarily saying bad things behind my back. They are more trying to sabotage my potential relationships with other people. Okay, Builder, let's just boil this down to the crucible here. Let's put high school bull crap or high school drama in a crucible. Light it on fire, burn it down. What's left? Here's the thing at the end of the day. All right, teenagers are pieces of crap, dude. You have unfiltered human behavior without the kind of refinedness of being an adult. Long story short, people act like children. They'll be very candid, and teenagers are ruthless, dude. They're ruthless. For whatever reason, we built up some kind of mentality that the social structuring of high school is super freaking important. It's not. Who cares? That doesn't matter. High school is 4 years of your life. It doesn't mean nothing. Don't worry about it. They're trying to sabotage your potential relationship with people. Fine, go ahead, let them. Who cares? People will hang out with you if they want to hang out with you. They won't hang out with you if they don't want to hang out with you. And believe me, they'll let you know, because kids are very straightforward. Yeah, Ando. That's a little real. So, Builder, long story short, okay, all right, I have to ask, and I'm going to talk in work. I have to ask, what is this relationship? Do you like a girl, or is this somebody you're trying to make friends with? Or do you like a guy? I don't care. It's 2021. You like whatever you want. You like a pet rock? Whatever. Which one is it? Don't just say yes, because that doesn't help me. It's number one, and girl. Okay. I like trains. Yeah, me too, Vasi. Trains are pretty sweet. Trains never let you down. Trains will always be there. You know, trains will always be there for you. They'll always be there to take you somewhere. You know? I love Lamp. Train gang. Comparing gay people to a pet rock. That's... No. It's really about liking whatever you want and not being judged, Russ. That's not really the point. But, if you want to take it that way, that's fine. You missed what I was trying to say, but it's fine. So there's a girl. Okay, Builder, I see. It's a girl that you like. So what? Guess what, man? You can't force a girl to like you. She's gonna like you. You got to put yourself out there, and if she doesn't like you, dude, whatever. Find another girl. And I know because you're younger, and because teenagers go through a freaking hormone-driven hellhole inside of their bodies freaking for the next couple of years because, puberty does that, right? All you're going to want to do is, no, this girl's the one, she's the best. Dude, get over it. Go out with somebody else. But here's what you do. Screw this person. Do not try to get other people to gain favor. Do not try to use like other people to gain favor with this girl. If you like this girl, go ask her out. Because you know what women like? Women like confidence. You have to have confidence in yourself. So if this other person is trying to be a piece of crap, oh, I heard Builder does this, you shouldn't go out with him. That means you're not making a move, dude. You got to make a move. If you're gonna let other people do the talking for you, you're definitely not gonna get the girl that you want, dude. One of those satellite catapults sits in front of your work. Really, Rev? That's cool, man. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out a way to build these things here, but I'm also helping Builder with relationship advice. Which one is it for? Do you know? Is it IUS? It's probably IUS, right? I'm building it for Venture Star, though, not for the space shuttle. Builder, you like this girl? Don't try to sit there and try to impress her from the shadows. That stuff's not gonna work, all right? Teenagers are all over the place. They're all over the place being constantly stimulated by information at every single point, all right? That stuff ain't gonna work. Don't try to show off and be like, yo, look at how cool of a person I am. You should notice me. That's stupid. That's not going to get you anywhere. And definitely it's not gonna help you when other people see that and they talk, oh man, Builder's such an idiot. Look at him, he's trying to show off. Believe me, I tried that. It does not work. Remember how I said, the internet, is the way to go. And, I let my actions do the talking when I'm playing Counter-Strike, so I should let my actions do the talking when I'm trying to impress a girl, right? Look at how far I can run. I can run faster than everybody. Dude, that shit don't work, okay? You got to go over, you got to talk to her. Trying to get the attention of a girl, you got to talk to her. Think about, like, what George McFly did. What was the way he got Lorraine to get his attention in Back to the Future? He went over and talked to her, and he made a frigging fool of himself. Who cares? That stuff don't matter. Yeah, exactly. It's not a romantic comedy, dude. It's an Intelsat cradle. I can send a link to our collections page if they're allowed. Rev, I will give you link perms immediately. Post it up, dude. Link me. I want to see this. Tried that too and learned that it never works. Just be yourself and talk to her. Seriously, just go over and talk to her. Like, okay, all right, what do you got? I already asked her out. She said she was open for dating, but after hanging out as friends first. That's fine. Dude, you don't go steady after asking her. When you ask a girl out on a date, that's not asking a girl to go steady. That's two different things, okay? However, these people are trying to tell me false things about her, trying to get me to drop interest, then finding out they were hanging out later. Oh, someone's jelly. Someone is jelly. Oh, great. Builder, you got yourself into a right proper mess here. Oh, boy. Teenage love triangles. Ugh. Intelsat Cradle from Atlantis. Let me see. Actually, if you could get me a high-res picture of this thing, I would really be happy. It would really help me out. Let's see what we got, my brother. Hey, all right. Let me see this sucker. Intelsat 6F1 was redesignated as Intelsat 601 and launched in 1991 on an Ariane 4 without the need for the space launch catapult. Yep, there's an active latching system right there. Yep. Cool. Rev, this is kick butt, man. Thank you for these pictures. It's actually really helping me. Yeah, man, that thing is a chonker, dude. Look at how heavy duty this thing is. You wouldn't think it by looking at it, but then again, this looks like it's designed to carry a much heavier satellite. So, Builder, it sounds like whoever's talking crap about you is making stuff up because they're annoyed that you asked this girl out because they were trying to do it. Guess what? Screw that person. I don't care if that person is your best friend. Screw them. If you're not going to support your friend, if you two like the same girl, dude, hey, every man for himself. You want to get this girl? You want this girl to be your girlfriend? You want to sit and have a relationship? You want to do all that? Guess what? Sacrifices need to be made. Because you're not going to have it both ways. You try to play both ways, you're going to lose. If you try to make your friend happy and you try to make this girl happy, guess what? Both of them are going to end up pissed at you. That's real. Alright, let me finish up building out a prototype of this, and then we gotta play some Hunt the Streamer, dudes. Oops. If your friend's gonna do something like that to you, you know, because your friend wants to go out with this girl, screw your friend. Your friend's a piece of crap. Like, that's such a messed up thing to do. Now, Builder, I have a question. I have a question here. Did you let your friend know that you like this girl, or did you not? So you let them know. And I have another question. After you let them know, right? After you let them know, is that when this crap started? A week after. Oh, jeez. Teenagers are so stupid. Oh, my God. Yeah, your friend's a piece of crap. Yeah. Yeah, your friend's a real piece of crap. Alright? Because you had the stones to tell your friend that you like this girl. Alright? And that you've been trying to go out with this girl. and your friend didn't have the stones to tell you that he or she also likes this girl as well, because they have no balls. That's messed up. That's honestly, it's messed up. That's messed up. That your friend would do that instead of actually being a freaking man about it and talking with you. Like, once again, like, don't be a man in high school. Hey, it's high school. You got to think about it within the context of that. Your friend's a piece of crap for not telling you this. You should not be friends with this person. Dude, screw that person. I'm serious. Like, and it sucks, and it's gonna hurt, and they're probably gonna get mad at you. Whatever, bro. You want to date this girl? You want to date this girl or not? You know, I know it sucks, but it's cutthroat. High school's ruthless, man. It's kill or be killed. And I wouldn't want anybody to go through the crap that I had to, where people just made fun of me at my expense, you know? And because of that, I never had the balls to ask any girls out in high school, because I was like, well, they already talk crap about me anyway. It's not worth it. Screw it. I'm going to go home and play Counter-Strike. Being, like, lethargic like that is very bad for you. Yeah, don't do that. Go and be confident in front of this girl. Be yourself. If she wants to go out on a couple of dates, that's fine. Take her out on a date. Take her out to the fanciest place in town. Yeah, it's going to cost money. Screw that. You got to schmooze a little bit. You have to. That's the price. Like, you're gonna have to do stuff that you don't want to do. All right? You know, you can't have your cake and eat it too. That's just not gonna happen. I'm sorry. If your friend's gonna be a piece of crap like that, you need to either confront your friend about this and be like, yo, I like this girl. Do you like her as well? If so, why are you talking crap about me? Do you want to try to get this girl over me? I told you I like this girl. What the hell? What's going on? Pull your head out of your tail. Like, if you're gonna be like that, dude, I don't want to be friends with you. You're gonna talk about me behind my back to this person? You either confront your friend or just say screw it and just try to go and get the girl yourself. I think this is a better solution here. This is less parts. Long story short, your buddy that's doing this, if you can prove that, I mean, and they'll probably never admit to doing it either, because they're kids and kids are idiots. Kids have this superiority complex problem, Builder. And you might have it too. It's just something that's really easy to spot. They have this superiority complex problem. Long story short, teenagers think they got the world figured out. They think they know everything. I'm not trying to be a jerk. You literally know nothing. Yeah, you think you know how the world works. You have no freaking clue how the world works. Not even close. Like, that's the reality of that situation, you know? So, long story short, you either confront your friend about this stuff. Confront your friend about this stuff. Call him out on it. Right? Be confident in what you say. Don't be like, you did that. No, be like, dude, I told you I like this girl. Right? I told you this. And now I hear that you're talking crap about me behind my back. What the hell, man? Is that what's going on? Like, why would you do that? That's so screwed up. And, you know, the answer you'll probably get, because you're dealing with children, is, no, I never said anything like that. No, it's not like that. It's not like that. All right, then what is it? What's going on here? I like this girl. Dude, what the hell? Dude, I'm 33 and I know nothing, Jackery. Like, seriously. It's like spaceflight. The second you think you got the world figured out, it throws you a curveball and you have no idea what to do. That's just life. Deal with it. No, not really, French. I don't really need it. There you go, meddling. Yep. I But you got to be confident. You got to be confident in your ability, not bandit, builder. That's really important. ETA on Hunt the Streamer. I guess now. Alright, so here's what we need to do. We'll probably jump back to this for after hours. Well, no, maybe I'll play Far Cry. Tuesday at the very latest, to do. Figure out pallet sat bus system. And then build the PCD based off of pallet interchangeability. I don't think interchangeability has it either. I don't think interchangeability is a word. It doesn't matter. Also, figure out a way to be able to simplify payload, multiple payload. Okay. Cool. Rogue, I'm good. Hey, iBuy. What's up, man? How's Europe? This is my SAT deployer before robotics. Worked well. Finding room for rotation and latching with the docking ports was a pain. Alright, Rocket Guy, let me take a look. Alright, dudes. I said Hunt the Streamer was in the mid-hour slot, so let's go. Have a good rest of the stream. Yeah, alright. Thanks. Yeah, I see it, Rocket Guy. Problem is, I know that, dude, that looks great. That looks awesome. It looks just like the real one. And yeah, I see, yeah, pre-robotics. Yeah, I see it there. That's pretty good, man. Nice. I don't think I have the part count to do something like this. I mean, obviously, you know, not with Kraken Tech, but yeah. It's going good. Skiing season is just around the corner, so I can't wait for that. Got a new car a few months ago as well. How do I make my Mark II cockpit not overheat when flying at 1,400 meters a second? How many radiators should I use? Any tricks I could use? If someone knows, it's you. You have to find a way to shed the heat off. Parts are absorbing heat because of plasma buildup, Swishio, so figure out a way to get the heat away from the parts. Radiators will do it. But is the amount of heat, if the amount of heat that's getting absorbed by your spacecraft, if the radiators can't, well, radiate the same amount of what's called heat flux, then yeah. Got to figure out a way to spread the heat around, dude. That's what my tiles do. Anybody ever notice that the big SSTO and the small SSTO use Fat 455 wings? I use the airplane wings for my stabilizer wings for the SSTO. You ever see them overheat? Mm-mm. Thermal protection system absorbs most of it. Yeah, Rocket Guy. I gotta get the payload dispensers to look right, be able to align correctly. And they need to be maybe 5-10 parts at best. Yeah, they're going to be very simplified just because it's on, like, once again, I'm flying the full shuttle stack into space, right? Like, damn part counts. Anyway, are you making a space shuttle? I'm working on configuring the payload bay for my big SSTO DV, but actually we made some pretty good progress today. I figured out basically what we need to do. These days, doesn't seem like stuff gets done, but it actually kind of, having this kind of solidified in my head, like, okay, we need to work on the shuttle pallets. The shuttle, the pallets that are basically something that's easily configurable in the payload bay, right? We need to be able to easily pull satellites out and put satellites in. We got to work on a transfer stage pallet, a satellite deployer pallet, and then a passive system pallet. And maybe even a shuttle crew tank or a crew tank pallet for Kerbals to be on board, right? All of those things, right? With all of those things, we could from there we can test out being able to take stuff out and put it in. We can do that on a test stand with a test payload bay. We don't need the whole SSTO to do something like that. We just got to make sure stuff can move in and out of that Mark III payload bay. That's all. After we create all these pallets, which we'll do next week, right? We'll create one for the transfer vehicle, or we'll make new transfer vehicles. We could make one for a lander. I can make one for a... we got to make one for the transfer stage. I got to make one for... Well, actually, we got to make one for like a resource tracking satellite. I got to make one for a, a deep space insertion satellite. Maybe something that goes to the moon, something that goes to Duna, whatever. And then we need to make the robotic arm to make all this stuff work on orbit. The SSTO is gonna need a robotic arm. I'm probably just gonna copy the RMS that we have from the space shuttle, from Collins. It would probably be better to do that way. Yeah, I don't know, Wookie. I've never played Hunt the Streamer during the day, so I don't know how I'm going to feel after. If I'm still game for it, we'll play some Kerbal after hours. I am probably going to do an after hours slot, right? We're probably going to do that. I'm just not sure what I'm going to do. I might just jump into Far Cry because it's the weekend, right? I mean, my scheduling internal clock is going to be all screwed up because I know at the end of Hunt the Streamer, my brain is going to tell me that it's like 1:30.